Hey there, it's Melissa Brunetti, and welcome to the Mind Your Own Karma podcast. Hey there, Karma crew. Thanks for joining me for this very personal episode of Mind Your Own Karma, the Adoption Chronicles. Have you ever been so numb to news that you wondered if something was wrong with you, if you were broken? I recently found out some news that really threw me. And to be honest, I still don't know what to do or how to feel about it, to be honest. Okay, reunions and second rejections are so fun, aren't they? I recently found out that my birth mother has cancer, which I wouldn't have even known about if it weren't for my biological brother contacting me. You know, good old family history being hidden, but it is what it is. I found out, and that's what matters. So, since I've heard this news, I've had a lot of complicated feelings surrounding this. I'm first to say I don't have all the answers, and I don't even think I have any answers on how to navigate this. But I wanted to share with you all that's happening because I know this is a safe space to do so with people that totally understand where I'm coming from. So I just want to thank you all for listening and holding space for me today while I try and sort all of this out. So it's been about a month ago, my biological brother told me, and he only found out because a neighbor reached out to say, hey, you might want to check in and contact your mom. Something's going on. This is what's going on. So he let me know, and my first reaction was nothing. Like, I felt nothing. It's been a month, and honestly, I still feel so numb. I don't know, maybe I'm protecting myself. Maybe it's a trauma response. I've learned that, trauma can sometimes numb you to protect you from emotions that feel too overwhelming to handle in the moment. I kind of see this whole scenario as another layer of fog for me that I have to go through. But while I'm trying to find my way through this layer of fog, what if I come out on the other side and it's too late? What if I finally gain clarity and she's gone or too sick to have a conversation with me? I already kind of feel bad for possibly coming back into her life now at this point. I don't want to make her feel worse, but do my needs in all of this come first? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Our relationship hasn't always been rocky. After we reunited, things were good, or so I thought. But in the end, after, many years of us connecting, she rejected me again. And I still really don't know why. She just didn't want a relationship, but she said she was willing to share medical information. But we did reconnect a few years ago in 2018, where I sent her an email and we exchanged these long emails where I was trying to get some medical advice, but I also was trying to feel out where she was with me. And the tone in the emails, everything seemed pretty good. And then she wanted to talk on the phone, and I just froze. I just didn't feel safe. And I stopped contacting her because I didn't know what to do. And so I did nothing. And I waited about a month, and a month later it was Thanksgiving time, and I sent her another short email and I heard nothing back. And then there were happy birthday emails And I sent her those the last few years, at least the last 3 years, and still nothing. She probably hasn't wished me a happy birthday that I remember in over 20 years. And I'm not going to lie, that really stings. And I know she hasn't forgotten. I just know that my birthday isn't a day she feels like celebrating. And to me, to be honest, sometimes I don't want to celebrate it either. It wasn't a happy day for us, like most births. It was a day of goodbyes and separation trauma. The rejection really feels like it started the day I was born. And I have no idea where to go from here. None. I have not heard from her since 2018. And looking back at that time when we were emailing each other in 2018, I realized I probably overreacted about her wanting to talk on the phone with me. At the time, I felt like she was trying to control me in a way. And I didn't feel safe hearing her voice, to be honest. I felt too vulnerable. But now I think it was more about her maybe trying to connect, but my trauma wouldn't let me see it that way. It's funny how trauma can distort things and the way we perceive our truth. But are we wrong to react certain ways because of our lived experiences? I don't know. I don't think so. As adoptees, we didn't get any choices in our trauma. So, how much responsibility should we take in these type of situations? Personally, I give myself a ton of grace because I'm really doing the best I can with what I have to work with here. I'm not doing anything out of malice or hatred or revenge. I'm just operating from my level of trauma that still lives inside of me, that I'm working on every day continuously. So, right or wrong, I learned from my experiences and I try to do better and learn from them, but I don't beat myself up over it. I don't. I have a right to how I feel, and there are valid reasons for those feelings. I have to honor those feelings before I can move forward in any positive way. And that is almost always an inside job for adoptees, unfortunately. We don't get our validation out in the world. We have to give it to ourselves or reach out. We can reach out to our communities where there are so many others that understand on a deeper level. And that's where we can start to heal, either from within or in the community. Trauma has a way of really twisting reality, of rewriting your experiences in ways that we don't even realize a lot of times. And it's happened to me plenty of times. It can make you see control where someone's trying to care for you, rejection where there's fear, and manipulation where there's vulnerability. It's like looking at life through a cracked lens or a kaleidoscope where the landscape keeps changing just when you think you have all the answers. You see the world, but the image can get distorted. And the thing about adoption is that this lens gets shaped so early, often before we're even old enough to understand it. And when I think about my birth mother, I know her life hasn't been easy. She lost her mother when she was 6 months old, pregnant with me. And my birth father left her just before he left to Vietnam. Can you imagine the pain of carrying a baby while grieving the loss of your own mother and feeling utterly abandoned? It's really heartbreaking. And that scenario has really helped me give my birth mother some compassion. And can you imagine what all that stress did to me while I was growing and forming in her belly? Why the general population doesn't acknowledge any of this is beyond me. It really is mind blowing. So here I am being vulnerable and telling you and the world my story. I just hope the world listens. But I can understand that trauma played a huge role in shaping her decisions. I get that she, probably made the best choices she could with the resources she had. But here's the huge hard part here. Understanding why someone hurt you doesn't erase the pain of being hurt. It doesn't make the rejection any less real or the scars any less permanent, does it? And then there's my own trauma when we reconnected and she wanted to move from email to phone conversations. I just froze. It felt like she was trying to control me. In hindsight, I can see that maybe that wasn't necessarily true. Maybe she was just struggling to keep up with the long emails. Maybe she genuinely wanted to connect in a more personal way. But at the time, my trauma made me see something totally different, something threatening. I reacted to that perception, which may not have been the reality. I'm willing to admit that. That's the thing about trauma. It distorts your view. And it's not just about how you see other people, it's also about how you see yourself. For a long time, I have carried this underlying question that many of you do as well. Am I unworthy of love? Because if the woman who gave me life couldn't love me, who can? We hear this all the time in adoptee circles, and it is so true. Your mother is supposed to protect you no matter what. You could have every excuse in the book, and to a child, all they see is, you gave me away. You were my mother, and you gave me away. Period. They don't care about the struggles. It just doesn't compute in their little minds how a mother could do that to us. And if they could, how can the world feel like a safe place to us? And who can we trust? The feeling of abandonment runs deep, doesn't it? Right now, I am standing at a crossroads, trying to figure out what to do. And it's been about a month since I found out about her diagnosis, and I still don't know how I feel. I don't know. I'm numb. I'm still numb. My immediate reaction when I heard was nothing, just numbness. It felt like I should have some big emotional response, sadness, anger, fear, something. But there was nothing. I wonder, am I shut down in some sort of survival mode scenario? Maybe, maybe. And I've been sitting with that ever since, just wondering, is something wrong with me? What's going on here? It's been very surreal, to be honest. Part of me feels like I should reach out to her. I don't know the details of her prognosis, but what if she doesn't have much time? What if I do nothing and she passes away, leaving this gaping hole in our story? But another part of me resents that whole idea. Why is it always on me to extend the olive branch? Why does it feel like I'm the one responsible for fixing this broken relationship every time it breaks? And then there's the fear. What if I do reach out and she rejects me once again? Or what if we reconnect and it opens up a whole new wave of pain somehow? I have so many questions for her. Questions that I don't know if I'll ever get the answers to. Like, why did you reject me again after our reunion? Why didn't you respond to my emails? Are you okay with possibly dying and leaving our relationship like this? Do you hate me? Are you angry at me, at yourself, at the world? I think about these questions quite a bit, especially now. But I don't know if I'll ever have the courage to ask them. And if I did, would she be willing or able to answer them? If you've been through something like this, I'd love to hear from you. How did you navigate a complicated biological relationship like this? Did you find peace or closure? Because right now I feel stuck. I don't know what the right thing to do is. And even if I know what that is, am I willing and able to do it? Right now, I feel like I'm waiting in a huge pause, and I'm afraid that when I come out of it, it might be too late. And that's just another adoption fog layer of this whole scenario. Feeling like there's a right way to handle it, like I'm supposed to have all the answers, especially since I share my experiences to help others. But this time, I don't have the answers. I'm just as lost and confused as anyone else, I guess, that would be in this situation. Trauma and adoption are so isolating. And unless you've lived it, you can't truly understand how deeply it shapes every part of your life. But if you're listening and you do understand, if you have felt these same feelings, I want you to know that I see you. I feel you. And I hope that by sharing my story, you feel a little less alone. And I want to leave you with one final thought. Someone recently told me that I should be grateful that my birth mother didn't abort me. And honestly, I can't think of a more invalidating thing to say to an adoptee. It's like telling a drowning person to be thankful for the water. It doesn't erase the trauma. It doesn't make it okay. So if you're ever in a position where anyone is sharing their pain with you, please don't invalidate their story. Don't try to reframe their trauma as a blessing. It's annoying and irritating and not helpful at all. Just listen, hold space, honor their feelings, because we all deserve to have our stories heard. And that is what I'm trying to do on this podcast. If anything I've shared today resonates with you and you're ready to begin your healing journey, I would love to help. I'm a Somatic Mindful Guided Imagery practitioner, and SMGI is a gentle and transformative practice that helps you uncover the root of your struggles and creates real, lasting change. Whether you're dealing with trauma, adoption, related challenges, or just feeling stuck, this approach could be the key to finding peace and clarity. Visit my website at somatichealingjourneys.com to learn more or to schedule a free consultation. It's a no-pressure opportunity to explore how somatic work can help you reconnect with yourself, heal your wounds, and move you forward with purpose. Remember, you don't have to navigate this alone. Healing is possible, and it starts with taking the first step. Thank you, Karma Crew, for being my sounding board today. Truly, thank you. Lastly, I am coming up on season 4 of Mind Your Own Karma, and I would love to know what you would like to see more of from this podcast. You can DM me on socials or email me your ideas to mindyourownkarma@gmail.com. I would love to hear your thoughts. As always, take what you need and leave what you don't. And always remember to mind your own karma. I'll see you next time.
This podcast is created for educational purposes by the telling of adoption experiences. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or Mind Your Own Karma.